Good morning, grade 9s, and welcome back to Quarantine English with Mr. Fisher. Today we'll be doing activity 9, which is on page 117. As I said in the previous video, we'll be skipping a couple of activities because they tend to be oral activities. So I would like to focus on language, which is what this activity is all about. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, in this activity, it actually focuses on about 3 different aspects of language. The first one is the way that we can separate parts of words. Now, we have touched on it in previous lessons, but I'm talking here about the prefix, the root, and the suffix. So the root you can think of as the core value of your word, what it truly is all about. Then the prefix and the suffix, they enhance the meaning or change it in a slight way, but it will always have a focus on your root. So these just change parts of the meaning. Now, we are given 2 words, and we need to find the root of these words. So the question reads like this. What is the root or stem of each of the following words? Okay, so let me write them down for you so you can see what they are. The first one is shipment. And the next one, survivor. Okay, and that is 1A and B. Now, also grade 9s, before I even get started with the entire lesson, try and do these answers by yourself. I'm going to try and allow some time to pass so that you can attempt the answers by yourself, and then I will try and give you the answers afterwards. I know it's not an exact science, so if you don't understand the work, you can obviously wait for me to explain it. But try not to just listen for the information and write everything down in your books, because that would be pointless. Okay, so try and do the work, connect with it. So we have to find the root word. Here we've got shipment. Now the core thing about this word is not the mint, it is ship. I think most of you probably would have found that. And B is slightly more interesting. You can't really underline anything there, and that would be a little bit of a tip for you. You would have to rewrite what it all was, or what the root is in this case. The root cannot be found inside this word. Maybe some of you found it. It is survivor. Survive. Sorry, survivor is the actual word. Yeah, never mind. So survive is the root. You'll notice that this does not fit in there at all, but the core idea or value of this word is to survive. Okay, so there's a little tip for you. You can't always find the root of a word inside a word with a prefix or a suffix or some alteration to it. Okay, so there's a good example for you. The next one is question 2, and they ask us, what is the suffix of the following words? So the suffix is always at the end of your word, connected at the end, and here we've got colourful and spinning. Okay, so colourful and spilling. Let's see if you can find the suffix. Before I even do these, let's quickly talk about 2 things that people tend to do. Well, not all the time, but it's a very common mistake. First of all, you will see there's a U in colour as an idea. So the reason for that is this is the way you spell it in UK English. It's also the English we use in South Africa. Now, that is the first thing to talk about. The next one, colourful, ends on 1 L. Just like every single word that ends in full, except for one, the actual word full. So if you just write this word, then there would be a second L. Anything else, grateful, graceful, beautiful, deceitful, whatever you want, it will end on 1 L. Just try and remember that for future reference. Now that most of you probably have found your suffixes, let's see if they are correct. The first one is Okay, because color is my root, so the rest of the word is my suffix. And for spilling, it's actually a suffix synonymous with continuous tense, ing. That would be my suffix, because spill is the root of my word. Let's continue on to the next question. So question 3. And here they ask us, what is the prefix of unnoticed? So we only get one word this time. So unnoticed. Okay, so unnoticed. I think what would be even better is if we can find the prefix, the suffix, and the root for this word, because you will see that it has each of those. I'll also show you how to write them down if they ever ask you to give that answer. So if A is my prefix, which is what we are looking for, I hope you have found it. It is un. It's not a very difficult one. So you would write it down like this. UN and a little hyphen. Okay, this indicates there's more of the word to follow. Then B, if that would have to be the root word, here you do not always need to add this. So you can just write down the core of this word, which is notice. That is the root. Then here, the suffix is a suffix that is always synonymous with past tense, especially for regular verbs. It's not just a D, it is ed. Okay, so remember that as well. There we go. That would be your full answer. Now, I think we are done with prefix, suffixes, and root words. We now continue on to 4, which asks us about adjectives. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail with suffix or, well, adjectives, because I think I focused on it quite a lot in previous videos. Basically, people, a suffix, why do I keep saying a suffix? I mean an adjective. Okay, an adjective is there to describe a noun. Okay, try not to get confused with nouns and verbs in that case. Verbs are enhanced by adverbs. Add to a verb. An adverb for a noun is what we call an adjective. Hopefully you got that one. So we have to find them, and let's quickly go through the sentence that they give us, and we have to find all of the adjectives that they give us in that sentence. So, Paternoster, a West Coast fishing village, got its name after a Portuguese ship was wrecked. Okay, so this incident caused this place to get the name. Now here we have to look out for nouns. It just makes sense, right? Because if I find the noun, I can look for words describing that noun. If I can find them, I've got my answers. So Paternoster, it's a proper noun in this case, which can also be described by adjectives, but we have none describing it. So we can continue. A West Coast fishing village. Now, coast is a noun, village is a noun. So anything describing those words, hopefully you have found them by now. The type of coast we've got here is a west coast. So west is the first word I would find as an adjective. The next one, we've got a type of village. So it's not just a normal plain village, it is a fishing village. That is also an adjective. And if we continue on, we'll find got its name after a Portuguese ship. What type of ship? A Portuguese one. So, a Portuguese, did I spell it correct? Yes, I did. Huh, I was a little bit nervous there. But anyway, so there we go. These are the 3 adjectives you will find in that sentence. We continue on to question 5, and here we have a focus on tenses. Okay, so in this one, they give you a sentence. It is in its own particular tense, its original tense, and you have to change it to another tense. In this case, we have to change it to the simple present tense. Okay, so that means if my sentence is in the continuous tense, I'll have to change it to the simple. If it is in the perfect tense, I will have to change it to the simple. But then also, I have to keep in mind, I need to make it present tense as well. So if it's in the past, it needs to move one step up to get to the present. Same thing, if it's in the future, it needs to come down to the present. Okay. So try and remember there are two parts that you need to change. It's not just going from past to present all the time. Simple is also important here. Our first sentence, I'm not going to write the entire sentence, I'm going to write down what needs to change in it. So hopefully you guys have already started writing these down so that you can do them while the lesson is continuing. So 5a, we've got the following sentence. Locals tried to grow them, but the climate was wrong. Okay, so locals tried to grow them, but the climate was wrong. There are two things that are going to change in this sentence. The first one, locals tried. Tried is a verb, of course, and you will notice that it is indicating past tense. So tried needs to change to try. The ellipse just shows there's other parts of the sentence. So we are also going to skip the rest there and continue on to the next thing that changes. So locals try to grow them, but the climate was wrong. Was is an auxiliary verb used for past tense. The one I need to use for singular things is. Okay, so the words that change is tried to try and was to is. Very simple sentence this, or activity, because you just had to go from the past to the present. So not that difficult. Let's get on to B. When he found it, he declared. Okay, when he found it, he declared. Okay, so here, again, looking at the verb would be the easiest option. We can find the first one, which is found. Again, found is a type of word we use for past tense. So what it is actually in the present tense, you will use find. But you will notice that only one person is doing this activity. So find changes to, hopefully you will find it. See what I did there? Finds. There we go. So I'll read that part for you again so it sounds better. When he finds it. Now we get to declared, which is also a verb here. So he declared, again, this is past tense, so I need to write it in the present tense. And declare is the word that I would use in the present tense for this action. But again, we've got one person completing it. So we need to remember the singular form of this verb needs to be written down, not the plural one. So if you wrote down declare, your answer would be incorrect, unfortunately. You would have to add the S because it is a singular object completing the action. Same with finds. Okay, so when he finds it, he declares. Let's get on to C. This is the last one of this activity. We are almost done grade 9s. So we have two land surveyors lost each other and spent days searching for each other. Quite a lengthy sentence there. So let's have a look again at our verbs. So two land surveyors lost. Lost again is the verb here, which indicates the action being done in the sentence. And again, it is showing you past tense. But this time, we've got a group of people completing the action. So it will take the plural form of lose, which is lose. So here we've got, let's find it, two land surveyors lose each other. If it was just one land surveyor, then it would be losers. Okay, but we've got two, so it's lose. Then we continue on to each other and spent days. Spent, that's a verb. But again, spent indicates past tense. So if I add spend with a D, then it becomes present tense. So that's the next thing to change. Then some of you might fall into the trap of changing the following word. Here it's searching. Okay, so 2 land surveyors lose each other and spend days. Search? No, it doesn't sound correct, does it? Searching stays the same for each other. So we've already completed the answer here. The reason that searching stays the same, it's actually a gerund here. It takes the form of a noun or a type of noun. Okay. If you ever wonder about it, ask yourself the question, is anyone searching in that sentence? No, not really. They are spending time searching. So spending here, spent, was your core verb. Okay. Now we are going to do number 6. Just number 6 and number 7, and then we are done. So in this one, they ask us the following. In each of the following sentences, identify the subject, verb, and object. Okay, this is also something we did in a lesson not too long ago. Remember that the verb is always the action, and whatever is completing this verb is your subject. Whatever is being interacted with will be your object. It's quite straightforward. So we've got A, B, and C there. And the easiest way to do this would be to make a little graph, and you can, well, not a graph, you know what I mean. Okay, you can say subject over here, you can say verb over there, and then your object there. Okay, and you can just separate them like so. Now, let's have a look at our sentences. The first one, Coffee Bay did not get its name. Coffee Bay did not get its name. So, let's look for the verb first. It's the easiest thing to identify. So, did not get would be the correct answer there. Here you need to include the negative as well. So, did not get. Okay. Now that I know what my verb is, I can ask myself the question, what is completing this action? And you will find Coffee Bay did not get. So it's Coffee Bay. Sort of fits in there. Okay, so Coffee Bay did not get. And what did it not get? What is being interacted with? It is its name. And there we go. My subject, my verb, my object. Let's continue to be. Locals tried to grow coffee beans. Locals tried to grow coffee beans. So here we have to find our verb. And it is a little bit more complicated than you might think. Here we've got locals tried. So tried is an action, right? To grow. Oh, that's also an action. And that, we have to write down all of it. Tried to grow. There we go, sort of fits in. So tried to grow. And from the previous lesson, you might see how you could distinguish the different types of this verb. First of all, we've got the word to, which means the word that follows it is part of an infinitive verb. Okay, this is an infinitive verb. And like I told you in the previous lesson as well, when you find one of these, you will always have to add a finite verb in front of it, which in this case is tried. And together, this creates your entire verb for the sentence. Okay, try not to get too confused by that. Now, who is trying to grow something? It is locals. So that is my subject. And what are they trying to grow? Let's have a look. Coffee beans. So that would be the thing being interacted with, the object. So coffee beans. Let's continue on to C. They founded Nailstroom. They founded Nailstroom. Very simple sentence. And here we can see founded. I don't think I need to explain why that's the verb. It is just the action. Who is doing this action? It is they. which is a pronoun. And what are they interacting with? It is nailstoom. And there we go. That was quite simple. Now, we have one more activity to do. And for this activity, again, you don't need to write out this entire sentence. Even though if I told you to write out the entire sentence, most of you probably wouldn't. Because how would I know? But yeah, just to keep you on the straight and narrow, you don't have to. So let's continue on to question 7, where they ask us to identify all of the, prepositions, not pronouns, prepositions of that sentence. Here, the sentence is, a group of religious zealots went north in search of the Holy Land. Okay, I'll read it again. A group of religious zealots went north in search of the Holy Land. Now, I need to find a way of things being connected in a certain space and what word is connecting them. So, a group would be one noun, so to speak, of religious zealots. That is also another thing, and they are connected by the word of, which is my first preposition. Let's continue on. A group of religious zealots went north in search. Here, in is also a preposition. Okay, so the group of zealots are connected with their search. And what are they searching for? So their search here is connected to something else, which is the Holy Land, and it is of. Okay, went in search of the Holy Land. Again, we've got of. So the entire sentence, a group of, my preposition, religious zealots went north in, my preposition, search of, another preposition, the Holy Land. And that is it. Very nice. The activity has been completed. Hopefully you are slightly wiser than you were 20 minutes ago. And that's where I'm going to end the lesson for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. We do appreciate that you watch these videos, and hopefully they help you. So stay safe, and until next time, goodbye.